In times of war and in times of peace, whether seen or unseen, our armed forces support and strengthen our nation. You're a source of inspiration, reassurance, and pride.
In this video, I'm going to share something absolutely shocking that happened at Windsor Castle. We're talking about a royal dinner that went completely wrong, where Queen Camilla was publicly humiliated in front of the entire world. What was said at that banquet was so devastating that it reportedly made the Queen Consort leave the United Kingdom in secret. If you want to know the full truth about what really happened that night and why it could change the British monarchy forever, then make sure you watch this video till the very end. And don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel, because we bring you the most exclusive royal stories that nobody else is talking about. Trust me, you won't want to miss a single detail of what I'm about to reveal. So here's what happened. There was this massive state banquet at Windsor Castle, where King Charles hosted American President Donald Trump. Everything looked perfect on the surface. The castle was decorated beautifully with golden chandeliers, crystal glasses, and fancy candelabras everywhere. Important diplomats and dignitaries from America and Britain were all gathered in this stunning hall called St. George's Hall. The whole purpose of this dinner was to show the world that the British monarchy was strong, stable, and united under King Charles's leadership. Queen Camilla came dressed to impress. She was wearing a diamond tiara that used to belong to Queen Elizabeth II. This wasn't just any piece of jewelry. It was chosen very carefully to send a message that Camilla was now the rightful queen and that she was continuing Elizabeth's legacy. She sat right next to King Charles, looking every bit like a queen should look. But across from her sat someone who would end up stealing the entire spotlight that night. Princess Catherine, who is married to Prince William, walked into that hall looking absolutely stunning. She was wearing a beautiful gown that reminded people of Princess Diana, and the moment she entered, all eyes turned to her. Can you imagine how that must have felt for Camilla, watching everyone's attention shift to the younger princess? But here's where things get really interesting. And I need you to stay focused, because this is the part that changed everything. President Trump, who is known for not following royal protocol and saying whatever comes to his mind, did something completely unexpected during the dinner. He was sitting near Princess Catherine, and suddenly, in front of everyone, he raised his glass, leaned toward Catherine, and said these exact words: "You will make a wonderful future queen." Now think about this for a second. The current queen, Camilla, is sitting right there in the same room, wearing the crown jewels positioned next to the king. And the President of the United States just basically ignored her and called Catherine the future queen instead. The entire hall went silent for just a moment before people started clapping loudly for Catherine. The cameras immediately swung around to capture Catherine's reaction. She smiled gracefully and looked down modestly, but you could tell she was soaking in all that praise. Prince William gave a small, proud nod to his wife. King Charles actually smiled too, looking proud of Catherine, maybe not even realizing how badly this moment was hurting his own wife. But then the cameras caught Camilla's face. And let me tell you, the expression on her face told the whole story. Her lips pressed together tightly into what looked like a forced smile. Her whole body went stiff. Her eyes showed shock and pain. Even though she was sitting right there, wearing Queen Elizabeth's diamonds, in that single moment, it was like she became invisible. All the attention, all the cameras, all the applause went to Catherine, while Camilla just sat there looking completely overshadowed. How would you feel if you were in Camilla's position, being publicly dismissed like that at your own event? Now here's something really important to understand about why this moment was so damaging. For years and years, Camilla has been trying to change how people see her. You see, many people remember that she was the reason Prince Charles and Princess Diana's marriage fell apart. People called her the other woman, and many Britons never forgave her for that. When Charles finally married Camilla, it was controversial. Even Queen Elizabeth II had said she wanted Camilla to be called Princess Consort, not Queen. But when Charles became king, he insisted on calling her Queen, dropping that extra word, consort. This already upset a lot of people who felt like Charles was going against his mother's wishes. Princess Anne, Charles's sister, was especially unhappy about this decision because she believed her mother's wishes should have been honored. So Camilla had been working really hard to prove herself worthy of being called queen. She did charity work. She showed up to royal events. She tried to be dignified and proper. But all of that effort seemed to crumble in just one moment when Trump made his toast. Opinion polls showed that only about 37% of British people approved of Camilla as queen even before this banquet happened. That's a pretty low number compared to other royals. Princess Catherine, on the other hand, was already very popular with approval ratings around 70%. So when Trump publicly praised Catherine and ignored Camilla, it felt like he was just saying out loud what millions of people were already thinking. Do you think Trump knew how much damage his words would cause? Or was he just being careless? After Trump made that toast, the whole atmosphere at the banquet changed completely. People started whispering to each other behind their hands. Royal staff members' faces showed they were uncomfortable and worried. Within minutes, social media absolutely exploded. People started posting videos of Trump's toast with hashtags like future, Queen and Camilla snubbed. One video that went viral showed the exact moment Trump gestured toward Catherine with the caption, "The Queen the world already sees." Another popular post had a split screen showing Catherine glowing under the chandeliers labeled "The Future," while Camilla sat in the background labeled "The Past." Internet searches for a Trump Catherine Queen increased by over 500% in just a few hours. Meanwhile, people were also searching about whether Camilla should even be queen at all. Young people on TikTok made dramatic videos overlaying Trump's words with emotional music and showing pictures of Princess Diana to make the contrast even stronger. Even American late-night comedy shows started making jokes about it. One comedian joked that Trump went to Windsor and crowned a queen himself. These jokes might have seemed funny to some people, but they actually did serious damage, because when something becomes a joke that everyone's repeating, it's really hard to change people's minds about it afterward. Have you ever seen something go viral on social media and wondered if the people involved knew how bad it would get? But what happened after the camera stopped rolling was even more dramatic. Once the official part of the banquet ended and the chandeliers dimmed, the real chaos began behind closed doors. Palace staff members were running around frantically, whispering urgently to each other because they knew this situation was spiraling out of control. Camilla apparently left the main hall very quickly. People who saw her leave said she was walking fast, almost like she was fleeing, and her assistants were rushing to keep up with her. Behind closed doors, according to reports, Camilla was furious. She apparently told her trusted staff members that she felt like her presence had been completely erased that night. Just imagine spending decades trying to earn respect and legitimacy, clawing your way from being called a mistress to finally being crowned queen, only to have all of that destroyed in one evening. Sources say she was devastated and humiliated. Meanwhile, King Charles was stuck in a terrible position. On one hand, he could see how much pain his wife was in. Some staff members claimed they heard him trying to comfort her privately, saying things like, "It was nothing, just theater. You are my queen." But other people say Charles was actually more worried about managing the public relations disaster than about Camilla's feelings. That proud smile he had during Trump's toast was caught on camera countless times. And to Camilla, that smile probably felt like her own husband was betraying her. Can you imagine how heartbreaking that must have been? Princess Anne's reaction was also telling. She reportedly told people close to her, "It's not what he said, it's how the world chose to hear it." Those words perfectly summed up the problem. Trump's comment could have been brushed off as just friendly flattery, but in today's world where everything goes viral instantly, people's perceptions quickly become accepted as facts. The palace communications team went into emergency mode. They stayed up late into the night, trying to figure out how to handle this crisis. Some people suggested writing a statement that praised both Catherine and Camilla equally, trying to make it seem like the evening celebrated both women. Other advisors thought they should highlight Camilla's role that night, talking about her tiara and her connection to Queen Elizabeth. But senior palace officials rejected both ideas. If they highlighted Catherine more, it would make Camilla look even worse. If they defended Camilla, it would look defensive and actually confirm that she had been snubbed. One advisor later admitted it was a no-win situation. Do you think the palace made the right choice by staying silent? Or should they have said something? Meanwhile, outside the palace walls, the media went absolutely crazy with this story. The Daily Mail newspaper ran a huge headline saying, "Camilla snubbed, Catherine crowned." The Sun tabloid put Trump's future queen across their entire front page with Catherine's picture. Even serious newspapers like The Times and The Guardian wrote front-page articles about what this moment symbolized for the monarchy. American news networks were even harsher. Fox News kept replaying the clip over and over with captions like, "Trump picks his queen." CNN brought in expert panels to discuss whether Camilla could ever recover from such a public embarrassment. International news outlets from Australia to Canada picked up the story. In Australia, some politicians who want Australia to become a republic and leave the British monarchy used this scandal as proof that the royal family was outdated and irrelevant. They asked why Australians should respect a monarchy that even British people were rejecting. Canadian commentators wrote opinion pieces questioning why Canada should keep its ties to a royal family that was clearly falling apart. The damage was spreading far beyond just Britain, affecting how the entire Commonwealth viewed the Windsor family. Think about how one comment at dinner could have such massive international consequences. After all this drama exploded in the media, Camilla did something that made everyone talk even more. She cancelled several public appearances that she was supposed to attend. The official reason given was private matters, which is royal code for not wanting to tell the public what's really going on. But her absence from public view only made people more suspicious and curious. Rumors started spreading that Camilla had actually left the United Kingdom completely. Some tabloid newspapers claimed that her private house in Wiltshire called Ray Mill House was completely dark for several nights, suggesting nobody was home. Other reports said she had secretly boarded a plane and flown to some undisclosed location in Europe. Now, we don't know for certain if these rumors were true, but here's the thing about royal scandals. The truth matters less than what people believe is true. Whether Camilla actually left the country, or just stayed hidden in one of her private residences, the perception was the same. People believed the queen consort was so hurt and angry that she abandoned her duties and fled. For a monarchy that depends entirely on maintaining proper appearances, this perception was absolutely devastating. Every day, Camilla stayed out of sight. The rumors grew stronger. Her invisibility, which might have been meant to let things cool down, actually made everything worse. What do you think you would do if you were Camilla? Would you hide until things calmed down? Or would you face the public immediately? The opinion polls that came out in the days after the banquet showed just how much damage had been done. YouGov, which is a respected polling company, had previously measured Camilla's approval rating at 37%. After the banquet, that number dropped even further. Focus groups where regular people were asked their opinions described Camilla as out of touch and irrelevant. Some people even said she didn't deserve to be called queen at all. At the exact same time, Princess Catherine's approval rating shot up past 70%, making her one of the most popular royals in recent history. This wasn't just about one woman going up and another going down. This was about the British public essentially choosing who they wanted to represent their monarchy's future. And they were clearly choosing Catherine over Camilla. Newspapers started calling what happened a generational coronation, meaning that even though Catherine hasn't officially been crowned yet, the public had already decided she was their queen. No actual crown or formal ceremony could be more powerful than millions of people making up their minds about who they trusted and respected. Some royal historians pointed out that this kind of shift in public opinion is exactly how monarchies have fallen throughout history. When people stop believing in the symbol loses all its power. If you were a member of the royal family watching these poll numbers, how worried would you be? King Charles found himself trapped in an impossible situation. He had spent literally decades fighting for Camilla. He had gone against public opinion, defied his own family's concerns, and even pushed back against his late mother's careful suggestions. When he became king, his boldest and most controversial decision was insisting that Camilla be called queen instead of queen consort, like Elizabeth had wanted. He had gambled everything on the belief that people would eventually accept and respect Camilla. But now, after this banquet disaster, that gamble looked like it had failed completely. Charles was watching his wife being mocked and humiliated in headlines around the world, and there was almost nothing he could do about it. If he publicly defended Camilla and said she was the rightful queen, he would risk undermining Catherine, whose popularity was currently the only thing keeping the monarchy stable in public opinion. But if he stayed silent and did nothing, he would be betraying his own wife and basically admitting that the critics were right about her. Royal historians noted that this was the cruelest irony. The more Charles loved Camilla and wanted to protect her, the less he was actually able to help her. His hands were completely tied. Some insiders said Charles was pacing back and forth in Clarence's house late at night, agonizing over what to do, looking more stressed than anyone had seen him in years. How would you handle being caught between protecting someone you love and protecting an entire institution? Princess Anne's position throughout all of this was really interesting. Anne has always been known as the most practical and realistic member of the royal family. She doesn't sugarcoat things or pretend everything is fine when it's not. According to people close to her, Anne reminded everyone that Queen Elizabeth had specifically never intended for Camilla to have the full title of Queen. To Anne, what happened at the banquet wasn't just an unfortunate accident. It was an omen, a warning sign of bigger problems to come. Her comment that it's not what he said, it's how the world heard it, became repeated in royal circles as a grim but accurate assessment of reality. Anne has always been fiercely loyal to her mother's memory and wishes. Watching Camilla wear Elizabeth's jewels while being publicly rejected must have felt to Anne like confirmation that her brother Charles had made a serious mistake by going against their mother's guidance. At the same time, Anne could see that Catherine was handling everything with perfect grace and dignity, which probably made Anne respect William's wife even more. There were whispers that Anne's private disapproval of the entire situation was adding another layer of tension within the family. When different factions within a royal family start taking sides, that's when things can really fall apart. Do you think Princess Anne should have spoken up publicly? Or was it right for her to keep her opinions private? Then there's Prince William's role in all of this, which might be the most intriguing part of the whole story. Throughout this entire scandal, from the banquet itself, through all the media chaos that followed, William said absolutely nothing. He gave no interviews, made no statements, offered no defense of Camilla, didn't try to downplay what happened. His silence was completely deliberate and incredibly powerful. See, in royal family dynamics, sometimes what you don't say speaks louder than what you do say. By refusing to defend Camilla or try to reframe the narrative, William was essentially allowing the public's perception to harden exactly as it was. Catherine was rising as the face of the monarchy's future, and Camilla was being diminished. And William did nothing to stop that process. Just a few days after the banquet scandal, William and Catherine appeared together at a school opening event. The photos from that appearance showed them smiling, relaxed, and completely unflustered by all the drama. They looked like the picture of stability and confidence. The contrast with Camilla's absence and supposed distress couldn't have been starker. The message that William and Catherine sent without saying a single word was unmistakable. We are the future. We are stable. We are ready. Many royal observers believe William's silence was actually a calculated political move. By not getting involved in the controversy, he kept himself and Catherine above the mess, while Camilla sank deeper into it. Some people call this smart strategy. Others call it cold and calculating. What's your take? Was William being strategic and protecting his wife's position? Or should he have shown more loyalty to his father's wife? Behind all of this drama, there's one name that never quite goes away. Princess Diana. Even though Diana died back in 1997, her memory and influence still haunt the royal family like a ghost. When people saw Catherine being praised at the banquet while Camilla was ignored, many of them immediately thought about Diana. Remember, Camilla was the woman Charles had an affair with while he was married to Diana. That affair destroyed Diana and Charles's marriage and led to their divorce. Diana was beloved by millions of people around the world. When she died, the grief was so massive that the monarchy itself nearly collapsed from public anger. Now, all these years later, Catherine is often compared to Diana. They're both beautiful, both stylish, both connect well with ordinary people. Catherine even wore a gown to the banquet that reminded people of Diana's fashion choices, which some people think was deliberate. When Trump praised Catherine and called her the future queen, many people online started posting old photos of Diana, with captions suggesting that Diana's spirit was somehow being vindicated. The comparison between Catherine and Diana, and between Camilla and Diana, is something Camilla can never escape no matter what she does. There were even reports that some protesters gathered outside Buckingham Palace after the banquet carrying candles and photos of Diana. Their signs said things like, "Stand with Catherine," And Camilla out. It was like 1997 all over again, when crowds mourned Diana and expressed anger at the royal family for how she'd been treated. This historical baggage makes Camilla's position so much more difficult than any ordinary queen consort would face. She's not just competing with Catherine for public approval, she's competing with the ghost of the most beloved royal of the modern era. How fair do you think it is for Camilla to constantly be compared to Diana, considering everything that happened in the past? Now let's talk about what this all means for the future of the British monarchy itself. Monarchies are built on symbols, traditions, and the illusion of permanence. The crowns, the jewels, the palaces, the titles, all of these are designed to make people believe that the royal family is special, eternal, and worthy of respect. But symbols can be destroyed very quickly when public perception shifts. What happened at this banquet showed just how fragile the monarchy's image really is. One unscripted comment, one viral video, one moment caught on camera, and suddenly decades of careful planning can fall apart. The monarchy survives because people choose to believe in it. Unlike governments that have actual legal power, the British royal family's influence comes almost entirely from public respect and tradition. When that respect erodes, when people stop believing in the symbol, the whole thing can collapse surprisingly fast. History is full of examples of monarchies that seemed strong and permanent right up until they suddenly weren't. The Banquet incident revealed that there's a serious split within the royal family. And that split is now visible to the entire world. You've got King Charles and Camilla representing one vision of the monarchy, trying to hold on to tradition and Charles's personal choices. Then you've got William and Catherine representing a different vision, one that's younger, more popular, and more in tune with what modern people want from their royals. When a monarchy is visibly divided against itself, that's when it becomes vulnerable. Commonwealth countries like Australia and Canada, that still technically have the British monarch as their head of state, are already having serious debates about whether they should become republics. This scandal gave ammunition to everyone who argues that the monarchy is outdated and should be abolished. If the royal family can't even present a united front at a simple state dinner, why should entire nations pledge allegiance to them? These are real questions being asked in parliaments and newspapers across multiple continents. The damage from one night at Windsor Castle is rippling outward in ways that could potentially reshape the entire Commonwealth. Do you think the British monarchy will still exist 50 years from now? Or is this the beginning of its end? Here's something else to consider about how perception becomes reality in situations like this. Once a narrative gets established in people's minds, it's incredibly difficult to change it. Right now, millions of people around the world believe this story. Catherine is the graceful, legitimate future queen who has earned her place through dignity and popularity. Camilla is the illegitimate, unwanted queen who was forced upon the public and who doesn't have the right to wear Elizabeth's crown. It doesn't even matter anymore whether this narrative is completely fair or accurate. It exists. It's been reinforced by thousands of news articles, millions of social media posts, and now by this viral banquet moment. Camilla can do 100 perfect public appearances, but people will still remember the image of her sitting there, tight-lipped and overshadowed, while Catherine glowed in the spotlight. This is actually one of the most powerful lessons from this whole situation. And it applies to anyone, not just royals. Your reputation and how people perceive you can be damaged in an instant, but rebuilding that perception takes years, or might even be impossible. Camilla has spent the better part of 2 decades trying to change how the British public sees her. She's done charity work, she's been faithful to Charles, she's tried to be dignified and proper at every turn. But none of that could protect her from one bad moment going viral. In our modern world where everyone has cameras and social media, one slip-up or one bad piece of optics can define you forever. That's a reality that's actually kind of terrifying when you think about it. Have you ever had an experience where people's perception of you changed based on one moment, and you couldn't fix it no matter what you did? Let's also think about what this situation reveals about leadership and legitimacy. You can't force people to respect you or accept you as a leader. Legitimacy has to be earned through trust, authenticity, and by proving yourself over time. Charles tried to force Camilla's legitimacy by giving her the title of queen and putting her in the position. But titles alone don't create respect. The British public never fully accepted Camilla, and this banquet made that rejection impossible to ignore anymore. Compare that to Catherine, who has never demanded anything or forced herself into the spotlight. She's quietly done her job, raised her children, supported William, and connected with ordinary people. She didn't have to insist on being called anything special. People gave her their respect freely because she earned it. This contrast teaches us something important about power and authority. Real power comes from people choosing to follow you because they believe in you, not because you have a fancy title. Camilla has the title. Catherine has the people's hearts. And in any system that depends on public support, the person with people's hearts will always be more powerful than the person with just a title. Think about leaders in any area of life: politics, business, community organizations, even families. The leaders people actually follow are the ones they trust and respect, not necessarily the ones with the official positions. Would you rather have a title that people don't respect, or would you rather have genuine respect without the official title? Now, let's address the big question that everyone's wondering. What happens next? Can Camilla recover from this, or is her position as queen consort essentially over in the court of public opinion? The honest answer is that it's very hard to see how she comes back from this. The damage to her image might be permanent. Every public appearance she makes from now on will be scrutinized and compared to Catherine. Every event where both women appear together will be analyzed for signs of tension or hierarchy. The media has decided on their narrative, and they're going to stick to it because it gets views and sells newspapers. Some royal experts suggest that Camilla might need to accept a reduced role, stepping back from major public events and letting Catherine take the spotlight. Others think she should do the opposite, appearing more frequently and working harder to win people over through consistency and dedication. But both strategies have risks. If she steps back, people will say she's admitting defeat and proving she never deserved the role. If she pushes forward, every mistake or awkward moment will be magnified and used as evidence that she's out of her depth. It's truly a no-win situation. Meanwhile, Catherine can basically do no wrong right now. Her popularity is so high that even if she makes mistakes, people will give her the benefit of the doubt. That's the power of public favor, and once you have it, it tends to feed on itself and grow stronger. What advice would you give to Camilla if you could talk to her directly about how to handle this situation? King Charles is facing possibly the biggest crisis of his reign, and he's barely been king for 3 years. He waited his entire life to become king, longer than any heir in British history. Now that he finally has the crown, his reign is being overshadowed by this scandal involving his wife. Some historians are already saying that if Charles can't figure out how to manage this situation, his entire legacy could be defined by this failure. He might be remembered not as a strong king who guided Britain into a new era, but as the king who couldn't protect his wife's dignity and who let his family's divisions become public embarrassment. The pressure on Charles is immense. He's got to somehow satisfy the public's love for Catherine while also supporting his wife. He needs to keep William on side because William is the future and has all the popularity. But he also can't completely throw Camilla under the bus because that would destroy whatever credibility he has left. Now, some people close to Charles say he's aged visibly in just the past few weeks from all this stress. The job of being king is hard enough without having your family's private tensions become international entertainment. How much sympathy do you have for King Charles in this situation, knowing he's caught between his wife and the future of his monarchy? For Prince William and Princess Catherine, this whole scandal has actually strengthened their position enormously. They didn't have to do anything to make this happen. They didn't attack Camilla, didn't give interviews criticizing her, didn't plot against her. They literally just showed up to the banquet, smiled politely, and let events unfold naturally. Now they're being hailed as the monarchy's saviors, the couple that can restore public faith in the royal family. William is being seen as the stable, sensible future king, while Catherine is viewed as a modern princess who represents the best of what royalty could be. Their children, Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis, are adorable and popular, representing continuity into the next generation. If there's any royal family drama or scandal in the future, William and Catherine can now position themselves as being above it all, as the voice of reason and stability. This Banquet incident has given them enormous political capital within the royal family. They don't have to aggressively push for more power or influence. The power is coming to them naturally, as Camilla's position weakens, and Charles looks increasingly unable to control the narrative. In a few years, we might look back at this banquet as the moment when the transition from Charles's reign to William's reign truly began, even though Charles is still technically king. Some of the most significant power shifts happen quietly and gradually, not through dramatic confrontations. Do you think William and Catherine are genuinely just trying to do their duty? Or do you think they're more calculating and political than they appear? There's also a fascinating question about what Donald Trump was thinking when he made that toast. Did he understand the bombshell he was dropping? Trump is known for his off-the-cuff comments and for not always following diplomatic protocol. Some people think he genuinely meant it as just a friendly compliment to Catherine and didn't realize how it would be interpreted. Others believe Trump knew exactly what he was doing. He's a master of media manipulation and creating memorable moments. Maybe he recognized that praising Catherine would create a huge story and get massive attention, which he loves. Trump has never shied away from controversy, and he might have enjoyed stirring things up in the British royal family. There's even speculation that Trump genuinely likes William and Catherine more than he likes Charles and Camilla. During his previous visits to the UK, Trump seemed to click more with the younger generation of royals. Whatever his motivations, the impact of his words was massive and immediate. One sentence from him at dinner caused an international scandal, caused a queen to potentially leave the country, damaged the monarchy's reputation, and shifted public opinion possibly permanently. That's quite a bit of influence from one toast at dinner. It shows how much power perception has in our interconnected media world. One viral moment can change everything. If you were Trump's advisor at that banquet, would you have warned him to be more careful with his words? Or would you have encouraged him to speak freely and create a memorable moment? Let me share what I think is the most important takeaway from this entire situation. This story is about more than just royal family drama or celebrity gossip. It's actually about something much deeper and more universal. It's about the difference between authority that comes from positions and titles versus authority that comes from earned respect and genuine connection with people. Camilla has the official position. She is legally the queen consort. Her title is recognized by law. But Catherine has something more powerful. She has the people's genuine affection and respect. And in any system where public opinion matters, genuine respect will always trump official titles. This applies to so many areas of life beyond royalty. Think about workplaces where there's a manager who has the title and power, but nobody respects them, versus someone without a fancy title who everyone naturally follows because they've proven themselves trustworthy. Think about communities where elected officials have the official positions, but community organizers who have no official power are the ones who actually get things done because people believe in them. Think about families where the person who holds the family together isn't necessarily the oldest or the one with the most authority, but the one everyone trusts and goes to for advice. The banquet at Windsor Castle was supposed to be a carefully choreographed display of the monarchy's strength and unity. Instead, it became a perfect example of how fragile reputation and perception really are. It showed that all the diamonds, all the titles, all the palaces and ceremonies in the world can't protect you from one viral moment that reveals what people really think. Camilla discovered that you cannot force legitimacy through titles or positions. Catherine demonstrated that quiet dignity and genuine connection with people creates a form of power that no crown can give you. What lessons do you take from this story that you could apply to your own life, whether in your career, your relationships, or your community? As this video comes to an end, the story of Queen Camilla and the Windsor banquet is far from over. Right now, as I'm recording this, Camilla is still largely out of public view. The rumors about whether she actually left the UK haven't been fully confirmed or denied. The palace continues to maintain official silence on most of the controversy. King Charles is trying to navigate this crisis while maintaining his authority as king. Princess Anne is watching with her characteristic practical skepticism. And Prince William and Catherine continue to appear in public looking calm, stable, and increasingly like the monarchy's true center of gravity. The question of whether Camilla can rebuild her image and reclaim her position in public esteem remains open. History suggests it will be extremely difficult. Once public opinion hardens against someone, especially in the age of social media, where negative moments live forever in viral videos and memes, coming back from that is incredibly rare. But stranger things have happened. The royal family has survived scandals before, from Edward IV abdicating to marry Wallis Simpson, to Diana's death and the public rage that followed, to the various controversies involving Prince Andrew and Prince Harry. The monarchy has proven resilient over centuries. Whether it can weather this particular storm remains to be seen. What we do know is that this banquet marked a turning point. It crystallized public opinion in a way that cannot be undone. It showed the world where people's hearts lie when it comes to the future of the British monarchy, and it revealed fractures within the royal family that will take years to heal, if they can be healed at all. The image of Catherine glowing under the chandeliers, while Camilla sat in strained silence, will be remembered for a long time as a symbol of this transitional moment in royal history. So I want to ask you, after hearing this entire story, what's your honest opinion? Do you think Donald Trump's compliment to Catherine was just innocent flattery? Or do you believe it revealed a truth that the whole world was already thinking, but nobody wanted to say out loud? Do you have sympathy for Queen Camilla and the impossible position she's in? Or do you think the public's rejection of her is justified given her history? Do you think King Charles made a mistake by insisting she be called Queen instead of Queen Consort like his mother wanted? And looking forward, do you believe the British monarchy will still be around and respected 50 years from now? Or is this the beginning of its slow decline? I genuinely want to hear your thoughts on all of this. Drop your perspective in the comments section below. Tell me which side you're on. And here's another question I'm really curious about. Where in the world are you watching this from? Are you in the United Kingdom where this matters most directly? Are you in another Commonwealth country like Canada or Australia, where the British monarch is technically your head of state? Or are you watching from America or somewhere else entirely where you have an outside perspective on all this royal drama? Your location and cultural background probably influence how you see this situation. And I think it would be fascinating to see how people from different parts of the world react to the same story. If you found this deep, dive into the Windsor Banquet scandal as fascinating and revealing as I did while researching it. Then, please do me a favor. Hit that like button right now to help this video reach more people who are interested in real royal stories, not just superficial gossip. Subscribe to this channel because I'm committed to bringing you the most detailed, well-researched, and honest analysis of royal family news and the stories behind the headlines that other channels won't tell you. Make sure you turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos, because trust me, this story is far from over. There will be more developments, more revelations, and more dramatic moments to come as the royal family tries to navigate this crisis. And I'll be here to break it all down for you with the same level of depth and analysis you got in this video. The next chapter of this royal drama might be right around the corner, and you'll want to be among the first to know when it happens. Thank you so much for watching, for listening to this whole story, and for being part of this community where we look beyond the surface to understand what's really happening in the world of royalty and power.